I was unfairly bullied by my boss at the branch office to which I had been transferred. I was blamed for someone else's mistake and even had coffee splashed on me. But then, a change came my way. After finishing the review of the last document I had written, I stretched my arms wide. All right, that's a wrap for today. Looking around the floor, I noticed that half of the employees had already left for the day. Time to head home myself, I guess. I finished my cold coffee and stood up from my desk. My name is Kevin. I work at the headquarters of a well-known major corporation. By now, I guess I'm considered to have mid-level tenure. Not to boast, but I didn't attend a prestigious university, and I'm not particularly smart. Furthermore, I'm awkward and somewhat clumsy. That's why I've always been meticulous and worked harder than anyone else, paying attention to even the smallest tasks. Thanks to this, I've become the most successful among my peers. I've never really seen myself that way. I just focused on completing the work given to me, tackling each task day by day. In my personal life, I have a girlfriend with whom I'm considering marriage. My girlfriend, Emily, is like me in that she doesn't stand out much, but she's earnest and hardworking. Perhaps because we're so similar, being together has always felt right. Everything was going smoothly. I believed I could continue to live happily like this. Forever, just like that. Kevin, can I talk to you for a minute? Just as it was nearing lunchtime, I was called by my boss, Will. Yes, what is it? I'm sorry for the sudden request, but I don't remember how I got home. After talking with Will, I couldn't even recall the work I did. It was a complete shock. An order to transfer to a regional branch. Such a transfer order coming out of nowhere at this strange timing. I might not realize it, but perhaps I made some mistake. In other words, a demotion. I thought I had been working hard, but maybe I made a significant mistake somewhere. A mistake serious enough to impact the company. I didn't have the courage to verify it. I was afraid to face it and risk getting fired. No use dwelling on it, let's do our best, I told myself as I packed my things. I'm Kevin, transferred from headquarters, nice to meet you. On my first day, my new boss, Max, looked me over with a smirk, saying, "Ah, so you're the guy, Kevin, huh?" I involuntarily shuddered at Max's off-putting demeanor. "Kevin, please use this desk over here." A young-looking female employee guided me to my desk. I slowly looked over the floor. Aside from Max, everyone else seemed like kind-hearted employees. That only made Max's unsettling presence stand out even more. Ah, I have to deal with this guy as my boss now. Just the thought made my stomach churn. "Hey, Kevin." Max began calling me over for every little thing, constantly complaining and grumbling. Max started yelling about problems that were unrelated to me, leading one of the colleagues, fed up, to intervene and clarify, "That's not Kevin's fault. He wasn't responsible for those documents." Then Max turned to me with a contemptuous look and remarked, "Oh, quite the ladies' man, aren't you? Already got the women defending you." It was at that moment I truly felt anger boiling within me. "Don't worry about it, Kevin. Will is just envious because you're from headquarters, and a seasoned employee, confided in me." I have known that transfers from headquarters often face this kind of underhanded harassment. I used to regard male jealousy as more contemptible than female jealousy, as if it were someone else's issue. Hey, if you're encountering such hostility, maybe you should consider leaving. I found myself venting to Emily during our conversation. That's not an option. I'm concerned. I fear the stress might take a toll on Kev, Emily voiced, her tone laced with worry. It's all right, but if this continues, leaving might be on the table, so don't fret too much, I reassured Emily, and myself too. In an environment where a superior unjustly targets their staff based on personal biases, the outcome is often predictable. Something is bound to happen if I go. But the thought of running away here is also frustrating. It feels like losing to Max. Just thinking about how he would act if I quit makes my blood boil. If I'm going to quit, I might as well give him a piece of my mind first. I made up my mind, determined not to lose to someone like him. The reason for my transfer remained a mystery. However, I was determined not to succumb to despair or abandon my duties. Then Max challenged, "Hey, can you secure this deal?" His probing look was evident. "Show us what you're made of, Kevin," Max taunted, his sneer deeply unsettling. "Understood. I'll give it my best shot." Regaining my composure, I contacted the client to schedule the business meeting. As I methodically tackled my tasks, I thought I caught a glimpse of Max's displeased expression, but I dismissed the thought and focused on my work. The following day, I arrived at the client's location at the appointed time. However, I was met with an unexpected response at the reception. "You've missed your scheduled time," they informed me. That seemed impossible. Despite my insistence, I was told they had another engagement and couldn't meet with me, forcing me to return to the office. Throughout the return journey, I continuously checked my planner. Certainly on time for the appointment. Why? Could I have misunderstood? No, it's not. I checked and they checked too. Where did I go wrong? The source of the error remained elusive. Back at the office, bewildered, I had to face the reality that the deal had fallen through. Reporting this was inevitable. Upon my arrival, Max inquired, "You sealed the deal, of course." His tone, dripping with sarcasm, made me pause, but I knew concealing the truth was futile. The issue was, as I recounted the events, Max's reprimand was disproportionately loud. "Big talk, yet you botched the timing. Such an error is inexcusable for someone not new to this. Do you think you can afford to slack off just because this is a branch office?" Max's harsh scolding halted everyone in the office in their tracks. "No, I didn't get the time wrong," I started to say when suddenly, he threw the coffee from his cup at me. Still talking back, "Huh, you think you can mock me?" Max stood up, looking like he was about to grab me. Just then, sorry to interrupt, but an elderly man entered. I had no idea at that moment that this man would come to my rescue. As I wiped myself off with a towel that Anna quickly brought me, I listened to the man's words. "Here's my business card," he said. I glanced at the business card he handed to Max. Max's attitude changed instantly. He turned pale. The man came over to me and said with a kind smile, "Nice to meet you. I'm Abel. You must be Kevin." I clasped his hand and apologized. "I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience caused by my tardiness today. It was truly inexcusable." "Please, don't worry. The change in time was my request. I thought my staff had informed your boss, Max." As he said this, President Abel gave Max a sharp look. Max, with a barely audible voice, looked down. "Kevin, I've been aware of your work since you were at the headquarters. I always thought of you as someone who makes sure to communicate even the smallest changes, a person capable of detailed negotiations. I was looking forward to meeting you when I heard you would be handling this," he said with a warm smile. I felt a bit embarrassed. "Max, what is this about?" It seems Kevin wasn't aware of the time change. Is this some sort of harassment against Kevin, who came from the headquarters to cause inconvenience to the company just to harass someone? What were you thinking? President Abel questioned Max in a calm yet firm tone. "No, I didn't mean to. I just forgot to pass on the message." At Max's words, everyone in the room looked up. "So, you're saying you blamed me for your own communication error?" I asked, barely able to get the words out. Max, still looking down, didn't respond. While everyone was focused on Max, President Abel said, "Kevin, if it's all right with you, I would like to have a word again," lightening the tense atmosphere. Later, I was given another chance to present, and I was more pleased about getting time from President Abel than the outcome itself. Feeling lighter on my way back to the office, I received a call from President Abel himself, offering me a job. "Yes," I exclaimed without thinking. Catching myself, I quickly looked around. It was a relief. A huge relief. That was all I could think of. I didn't care if my reputation suffered. I could always work hard again. But I didn't want to be the reason the company suffered due to my mistakes. It was truly a relief. I need to get back to the office quickly and report this. Trying to contain my excitement, I hurried back to the company. "The deal is closed," I announced. Applause broke out. "Congratulations. That's great." I was greeted with congratulatory messages from everyone. Then, I realized Max wasn't at his desk. "Where's Max?" Everyone exchanged glances. "He's been demoted. Transferred to a remote location," someone informed me. I was surprised. When you anger President Abel, this is the inevitable outcome. Everyone was talking, chuckling wryly. Anna was appointed as Max's successor. Quiet and unassuming, she always had a knack for supporting everyone subtly. I later found out that she couldn't get promoted due to Max's presence. Max's demotion was heavily influenced by President Abel's decision. Realizing the magnitude of President Abel's influence, I shuddered at the thought of what could have happened if I had been wrongly accused of missing the appointment. Being favored by someone as influential as President Abel means you are really exceptional, Kevin, Anna said with a gentle smile. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, I just smiled and shrugged it off. After a day full of events, I collapsed onto my bed, and before I knew it, it was morning. Last night sure was eventful. Sipping my coffee, I found myself muttering involuntarily. As I arrived at the office, I immediately noticed the distinctly calm atmosphere, a stark contrast to what had been before. When the leadership changes, the atmosphere changes too. Lost in these thoughts, I received a phone call. It was Will, my supervisor, from the time I was at the headquarters. "How about coming back here soon?" he asked. It was during a lunch break when I called him back that I first learned the truth. It turned out I wasn't demoted. Instead, I was transferred to gain experience in regional operations, deemed necessary for my future at the company. "You are considered a promising talent for the future," Will said. I thought I had been demoted for messing something up. Feeling deflated and speaking in a drained voice, I heard Will apologize. Sorry, I couldn't really go into details. My bad." I didn't miss the laughter in his voice as he said that. "When can you return?" he asked. I hesitated for a moment. "Can I have some time, please?" I asked. It wasn't a demotion. That was a huge relief for me. Sure, I had the desire to return to the headquarters. If I went back now, I'd probably get a promotion. But for some reason, I couldn't genuinely feel happy about it. The headquarters, in a way, must always be in a state of perfection. It's that kind of place. I believe striving for that is something to be proud of. But what about the branch office where I am now? What's the situation there? With someone as incompetent as Max at the helm, I couldn't help but wonder if this branch was in a worse state than others. What was its current state? Driven by an irresistible urge, I hastily emailed a colleague at the headquarters. Sure enough, I skimmed through the list attached to the email. Our branch was close to the bottom among all branches. I had heard that soon after my transfer, Max had forced out employees who were more competent and likely to advance, to protect his own position. Indeed, Max's responsibility for putting his own pride ahead of the company's benefit was significant. But I also thought it problematic that the headquarters had been completely oblivious to such a state of affairs. The next day, I confided everything to Will. The fact that not a single capable employee was left. That the headquarters had been unaware of this until now. As someone who came from the headquarters and was supposed to return, I couldn't leave the branch in this condition. I wanted one more year. Could I not return to the headquarters after setting a clear path forward in that year? I knew I was being presumptuous. If the headquarters had written off this branch, they would tell me to come back immediately. It was a sort of gamble. "Can you give me some time? I'll talk to the higher-ups," Will said. "Please, and thank you." After hanging up, I let out a small sigh. 1 year, that's all. After a year, you are coming back to the headquarters. That's final, he said. 2 days later, Will called me. "Thank you so much." Right after hanging up, I went straight to Anna. "There's something I need to discuss with you." Anna was incredible from that moment on. She listened earnestly to what I had to say and asked me to work hard together. The next morning, she laid out the current situation of our branch to all employees without sugarcoating anything, and even disclosed that I had postponed my return to the headquarters for a year to try and turn things around. As the discussion progressed, I noticed the sparkle returning to everyone's eyes. Initially, they all had the look of dead fish in their eyes. Just coming to the office and leaving at closing time. That was all. That's why our performance never improved, and we were just barely surviving. After the morning assembly, some started revising documents. Others came up with proposals for clients. Some contacted previously rejected clients to secure business deals. Everyone began to take the initiative in whatever they could do. Seeing everyone like this was how it used to be in the beginning, Anna said nostalgically. "Yeah, everyone lost their motivation after that Max came," said Olivia, Anna's colleague, with a bitter expression. Anna later confided in me that when Olivia was young, she was very beautiful, and Max had been persistently pursuing her. But when Olivia got married, he started harassing her, yet the strong-willed Olivia decided, "I won't be defeated by someone like him," and stayed out of sheer stubbornness. "There's nothing stronger than a woman who's made up her mind," Anna said with a wry smile. "So, you are coming back soon, huh?" About 3 months before the promised day, when I was finally going to return to the headquarters, I told Emily. I thought Emily would understand, but it's natural to want me back sooner if there's a chance. Being told that by Emily was tough for me too. That's why I had been hiding it, feeling guilty. "Isn't there anything left for you to do there?" I was taken aback by the unexpected question. Why? Because of Kev. You can't just abandon them and go to a safe place for yourself, can you? Emily seemed to see right through me. I've done everything I could. Now it's up to everyone who's left to keep up the effort," I replied with a weary voice. "Right. You've got 3 months left. Give it your best," she said with a smile. Despite my being so selfish, the fact that Emily could forgive me with a smile made me deeply respect her. This past year, I stayed and worked hard, even at the cost of making Emily feel lonely. Soon, the results of that effort will be revealed. It could go either way. There's no way it'll turn out badly. It can't be worse than before, Emily assured me. Even so, the anticipation made my heart race. If the results of the big show at the head office and the results of staying behind are inconsequential, the higher everyone's expectations are for the branch office and for me, the more scared I am when I can't produce results beyond my expectations. Sometimes, you just have to face things head-on, Olivia said over coffee. Reflecting on the phrase, "a determined woman is strong," I feel its truth more deeply than ever. Seeing this, Olivia grins at me, catching my involuntary wry smile. At exactly noon, the report card is sent out. Everyone present watches in utter silence, as if they've forgotten to breathe. Did we do it? No way, that's amazing. The employees begin to exclaim one after another. Looking at the report card handed to us, Our branch had achieved the top sales nationwide. Olivia, nicknamed the Iron Lady, had tears in her eyes. And it quietly says, "We owe all our achievements to you, Kevin. Thank you so much." And everybody applauded. I couldn't find the words, pretending not to notice my vision blurring. Soon after, I returned to the headquarters and was promoted 2 levels. I even checked with Will, wondering if there was some mistake. He just laughed, saying, "You've earned it with your achievements." Every time I met with the higher-ups, they would invariably say, "You've done well," but envy started to show among my peers. It's inevitable when you get promoted. I was comforted by many, but it took quite some time to get used to it. If you work hard, there will always be someone watching over you. You must never give up, my wife Emily says happily. I truly believe that. If you earnestly persevere in what you believe is right, there will eventually come a day when your efforts are rewarded. Just like it was for someone like me, whose only merit was being serious.